Hi, I am here with Jelena Vermilion, who is with us from Windsor, I believe.
Swap Hamilton, so Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay, sorry, my
Okay.
mistake. Hamilton. I am just going to share my screen and then we'll start. We'll do a little intro and all that jazz. Okay, brilliant. Here we go. Everybody, welcome. This is the, I think, third webinar that we're posting for COVID times. So today we're going to be talking about online sex work. We're going to be talking about everything you wanted to learn about how to transfer your work online. And I'm super grateful that I have a guest with me.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
It's my absolute pleasure. So I want to acknowledge that PACE Society is located on the stolen lands of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the shared territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam First Nations. And we always want to acknowledge our responsibility to work in solidarity with the Indigenous peoples who have lived on and protected these lands for tens of thousands of years. And I think it's always really important to mention that due to colonial violence, we understand that Indigenous sex workers are disproportionately affected by violence and harms, and the isolation that stems from the stigmatization and criminalization of sex work. So it's an essential part of our work. We commit to centering Indigenous perspectives and actively working towards decolonization and Indigenous sovereignty.
Awesome. And the city of Hamilton is based or situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum. And this training that we're giving today is adapted from the Scarlet Alliance's guide. And so happy and excited to show this.
Awesome. I also want to just credit the work of the CipherSex Collective and the writings of Isabel Andrews for Medium. And if anybody's interested in getting the whole list of resources that we're talking about today, you can contact me at kit@pace-society.org. Okay. These are all the things we're going to be talking about today. We're covering a lot of ground. It might be a little bit long, but we'll try and keep it short. Can you just start by introducing yourself?
For sure. Also, additionally, if folks need to have access to the links, they can contact swaphamilton@gmail.com alternatively. I'm the executive director of SWAP Hamilton. We do a lot, but the three main areas that we focus on are education, outreach, and advocacy. Advocacy would be lobbying politicians to speak about sex work in their platforms, as well as campaigns in our community to reduce stigma and to increase awareness about these kinds of issues that sex workers face. And education includes providing trainings to service organizations and other service providers and organizations or businesses that are looking to affirm the rights and dignity of sex workers. And outreach would be providing outreach packages to street-based sex workers. Recently, we've been providing through a grant that we received from the Hamilton Community Foundation, $50 grocery cards and $50 cab vouchers, so transportation and food. So just to sort of snapshot what we do. So we are really pizzazzed to be a part of this. So I guess the first part is talking about non-contact work options and how we adapt to the COVID situation.
Yeah. Okay. So for folks that know me, I started out camming and then did domination work. And I definitely preferred in-person work. But because of COVID, let's say I'm a person who's real concerned about my own health status. What are my options outside of in-person stuff?
Exactly. I'm also a full service worker. I guess I should have said that for 8 years. And I'm a trans woman, if that's probably relevant. So, yeah, I also prefer working in person. I have found this time really frustrating because I don't really feel safe to work. I feel very conflicted and ambivalent because I need money, but I also feel like I've never felt that prostitution or sex work has been immoral, but I feel like I'm starting to feel that, and I feel like just because of the whole social public health everything and those attitudes that come along with it. So yeah, it's been a time.
You're definitely not alone in that.
Yeah, glad that we're talking about it so other people can reflect.
For sure. For sure.
Should I read the rest of the list?
Yeah. Tell me about what the options are.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll be talking about alternatives to in-person work, such as online or non-contact work. And we'll be talking about how to keep yourself safe with digital privacy and security techniques. We'll be talking about marketing yourself a little bit, and talk about what you need to get started in non-contact work or offline sex work. And, you know, including adding pizzazz or adding marketability to your persona, and also learning how to work for yourself online, setting up passive income streams, so that you can get paid from either if you're selling videos or other kinds of content, or I don't know, panties or webcamming, for example. And then lastly, we'll be talking about working for third-party platforms like Flirt for Free or Chatterbait. I can't think of a lot of them right now off the top.
Night Flirt?
Yeah, there you go.
It's been around
phone
forever.
chat one, and you know, technically you can make money from Pornhub. Not that I suggest anybody give up the rights to their content to them, but yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Brilliant.
So,
I'm so excited.
so what are the options?
Yeah.
I sort of, we have a full list, but then we talked about like what is more popular.
Okay.
So, you know, ways that you can do non-contact work are texting clients, you know, intimate or dirty conversation, private phone bookings on your mobile, which means like it could be a video chat as opposed to just a text message, or it could also be a phone conversation that's like sex chat. Online, like Skype videoing with your clients, either FaceTime, Snapchat, Zoom, or other video platforms that work for both. There's also, if you are, it is potentially, there are some BDSM things that you could do in person where you could be more distance and you could use PPE and things like this. But, you know, for the purposes of non-contact work, we're just encouraging, you know, alternatives to those. But if you wanted to do BDSM or role play sessions via SMS, so more like instructive type of BDSM interaction, either over text message, phone, or video, depending on how you want to play with that. As mentioned, you know, selling pictures or videos online, you know, there's ManyVids, there's a lot of websites that you can sell content. I think there's getindybill.com.
What if people are interested in like purchasing my socks or underwear?
Yeah, I think Get Indie Bill, for example, that would be a third party that you could use to sell. Alternatively, as long as it's not pornographic, I think that like one could start their own e-commerce website if that's within their means, and sell things on their website. Like you can sell sexual themed things, like you can sell like a coffee mug that says cunt on it, or like that has an illustration of something sexual, but you couldn't have like your escort website with the shop on it necessarily. It would have to be sort of like, for people who are looking for a good reference, Jackie the Stripper has a shop on her website, and she has I think that how she has her art and everything, it's a really good example of how you can be sex work positive and have like a shop, and adapt as well. There's like merch and stuff. I'm not one to necessarily like, you know, that kind of capitalism is like its own venture, but there are people that want that stuff, so we can make money. Additionally, we could share personalized dirty stories on email. Some clients prefer like a long narrative, so that's its own particular appeal. You could do, again, virtual girlfriend experiences, just like having a nice intimate conversation. You could send items in the post, as we said previously, underwear, socks, Polaroids, personal items that are whatever, sexual or photographs. We'll talk about this later, joining a third-party online platform for phone sex like Night Flirt. And lastly, joining a third-party online platform for camming, selling pictures and or videos. And of course, those third-party sites take a portion.
Right.
So of this list, I'd say that live video bookings, selling pictures and videos or content online, sending items in the mail like used underwear, socks, or Polaroids or things like this, and joining a third-party platform to do phone sex or to do camming or pictures or all of the previously mentioned things are the most popular out of that list.
Okay.
It's hard to get clients to bite at texting dirty for money because they basically are texting you dirty to get a response out of you already a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, try to leverage the situation. You know, start just taking more photos during the day. You know, if you primp and preen normally, just take a bunch of photos and start trying to create a content database for yourself to sell.
Brilliant. Okay. Before we get started, I feel like some of the most important things are going to be related to privacy, digital privacy, and keeping our sort of identities online very separated. What are some things to consider before getting set up online?
Well, when you put anything online, it's probably there forever. It's generally the rule that you want to consider for yourself.
Yeah.
So taking precautions, perhaps like, you know, are you wanting to obfuscate or like hide your identity for the entirety of your performance? Meaning, like, do you want to wear a wig or a different hair color? Do you want to wear your makeup differently to make you look different? Everybody makes choices for themselves. There are sex workers who are out, some that are privileged, some that are not. And you know, it's really difficult for people to navigate, you know, to the currency of being visible versus wanting to choose personal privacy. So just, I would encourage people to ask yourself what is important to you and ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself. And, you know, having your own boundaries is really important regardless of what you're choosing. So just being mindful of what you need and what you're comfortable with, I think, is where you need to start with, not just with sex work, but with anything. But so starting from there, you know, it would be really good to keep your work name, presuming that it's a pseudonym or a not your legal name that the government knows you as, and you might want to have like a separate device for this particular work that you're doing, meaning another cell phone if you are texting or doing video calls on cell phone, or if another laptop if you are doing webcamming or something like this, where you can have like a dedicated setup. And of course it's worth mentioning that it's not accessible to everyone to have a second phone or a second laptop. So there are alternatives. There are ideals and there are alternatives. So we're just sort of giving all the options.
For sure.
If you are not able to use a separate device, you can use a Tor browser, which is, I think, the Onion router or something like this. It's what Tor stands for, TOR. And it will help keep your online persona separate and prevent you from being doxxed. So yeah, some of the most important things to consider are that creating separate accounts, especially for social media, is a large part of keeping your identity separate. So if you are interacting with clients online on Facebook, you don't want to add any of your personal contacts or any of the contacts on your phone. You don't want to allow Facebook to add any of the contacts on your phone unless that phone is only ever texted clients, for example. You want to have a separate account to have your personal conversations with, and doing a privacy check on all of your social media accounts as well, locking them down, making sure the privacy settings are what you're comfortable with, doing this on a regular basis is important because Facebook and others, you know, they change their settings, they add different features, and sometimes people are automatically opted in without knowing to certain features. So just keeping up to date on that is important.
Okay.
A basic such as using a strong password, and if you feel it's necessary, two-factor authentication, which basically means when you attempt to log into an account, you will be texted at a mobile number. You'll get a code of some sort. I think they can also call you in some instances.
Yeah.
And then you just use that code in addition to your password to prove that you have two devices that authenticate your login. It's just an additional layer of security. So if someone found out your password, for example, they couldn't get into your account necessarily because they don't have access to your mobile phone.
Right.
And then you could just change your password at that time. So
Okay.
making sure to remove EXIF data from images, which means to remove the geographic location that the photograph was taken at, the GPS coordinates that are usually like part of photographs. Sometimes you can turn the settings off, but it's even if the settings are off, I always recommend just use an EXIF data remover. You can get them free online. And additionally, try to use separate the images that you're going to use to advertise your services from the images that you want to show people on social media, on your personal social media.
Okay.
I break this rule a lot, so don't look at me, but because we all like our modeling photos and we want to show them up, and maybe we want to put it on our ad too. But just ideally, if you can avoid that, do so. It's just another layer of separation. And there's also Google image reverse search, which is partly the reason for avoiding using the same images for your personal and online or personal and sex work life.
Right. And for folks that don't know, if you type into the Google search bar reverse image search, it'll bring up a different Google page. And then you can just drag and drop any photo into it, and it will bring up all of the places online where that photo is stored. So if you're using something for your personal Facebook and also for your work Instagram, anybody who bothers to look will be able to figure out who you are real quick. And obviously, that's not going to keep you much safer than just working with your legal name. So
exactly.
What about my IP address? How can I disguise that? And we'll talk a little bit more about EXIF data in a little bit.
So using a VPN, which is a virtual private network, is really useful. It helps disguise your IP address and makes people think you're in a different part of the world. It usually puts it through multiple bounces of different IP addresses. And additionally, as I said earlier, you want to turn off location services, not just for photos, but also when you travel with your phone. Google tracks it. Even when you use your Presto card, if your Presto card's registered, the police can track your movements. So
the Presto card is the Metro Pass?
Yeah, it's used for Toronto and Hamilton, some parts. It's basically GTHA from what I understand. I think there's a couple of other cities I just don't know off the top of my head, but it's it might just be more southwest on like an Ontario thing. But it's just like we want to avoid surveillance is what I'm trying to say.
For sure.
And again, updating your work and personal devices, whether they be phones, tablets, computers, smartwatches, etc., because they often have important security updates. People create malware, people create viruses and Trojan horses, and we just want to keep ourselves protected from those things.
Okay, cool.
We do have some resources. If I would suggest going to hackinghustling.org/resources for comprehensive digital security resources. They do have a threat modeling one. They have one for locking down social media, and they have one for doxing self-defense, it is called.
Okay, brilliant. We talked about the Onion browser and the VPN, so I won't go too far into it. I just want to let people know that if you're using both an Onion browser and a VPN, you will be extremely safe, but it will slow down the functioning of your device. It will slow down how long it takes you to send an email, how long it takes you to receive an email, all of that jazz. But it's never worth giving up safety for speed. So if you're like, oh, this client emailed me, I really have to email them back in a hurry, and the Tor browser's loading really slowly, stay patient, because it's not worth giving up something that could disclose your location or your identity to someone.
Yeah. Just making sure it's nothing. There is another resource from Hacking and Hustling, I believe. If you go to soph.info/hh/tor.pdf, that's a great resource for the Tor browser.
Brilliant. Okay. And again, I'll, if anybody wants to email me for links to these things, I'm happy to do that. And my email again is kit@pace, PAC-society.org.
And mine is swap Hamilton, SWAP Hamilton @gmail.com.
Brilliant. Okay, tell me about like the safest emails or messaging apps so that I can carry out these intimate and illicit conversations with people.
Proton Mail is very good. It was developed, I do believe, by sex workers, or this related to the same developers who created Twitter. I think it's Foursquare or something, but they are encrypted and they're safe enough for workers to use. And there's also Tutanota, I think that's how you call it, Tutanota. My sticker fell. No.
Oh no.
Okay, we'll fix that.
Between Tutanota and Proton Mail, I have heard that they're both equally good as far as encryption goes, but the Proton Mail went like an extra step further. And when they opened, they said in their like invitational like statement that this was ideal for sex workers and that sex workers were welcome to use their mail platform.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, most places are not so welcoming of sex workers. So Proton Mail has kind of taken off in the community.
Yeah, I remember that. And I mean, I've used it. It's a decent interface, you know. Everything that's going to be more secure is a little bit more blocky, if you will, but it's reasonable. So, and I would say that Signal is one of the best like chat apps for your phone, mobile phone, to have encrypted conversations. However, the other person that you're speaking to needs to also have it in order for the the receipt and the send of it to be encrypted on both ends. For resources for messaging security, I would again go to soph.info/hh/messaging-security-slides.pdf or messaging-security-notes.pdf. Everything else is the same in the URL.
Okay, EXIF data. We talked a little bit about it, but like, can you tell me exactly what it is? Because I think a lot of folks don't know.
Right. So EXIF is an acronym that stands for Exchangeable Image File Format. It is used in compressing image files like JPEG files and contains information about the photo, like what kind of camera took it, the technical settings of the camera, like the aperture and the ISO, things like this, and even the location of where the photo was taken, like GPS coordinates or a literal like statement, because sometimes your phone might say your city and it might just say Hamilton.
Obviously that's dangerous.
Yeah, because if someone, let's say you take a photo, even with your work phone, with a phone that is separate, like completely never messaged your parents or the government or whatever, and you take a photo of yourself for an advertisement and you don't remove the data properly and the location services were on, and a client could potentially, and you're taking it at your house, you're taking it at your personal residence, you're not taking a photo at, say, the hotel that you are working at or receiving clients.
Right.
And they could potentially look up the photo either by downloading the photo and looking up the properties or uploading it to a website that reads the data, because those are easily accessible, and they could potentially find your address and track you down. So that's a vulnerability that most people aren't aware of.
Okay.
there are websites that you can upload it to. I forget what this website is. It's exifdata.com. You can use that to look to see if there is EXIF data still on your photo.
Okay.
And again, most devices do allow you to turn off location data for photos, but it will only ensure that the location data is removed. You might still want to have the other data associated with the photograph removed with an EXIF data remover. There's a third-party app called EXIF Eraser, and it's pretty straightforward on how to use that.
Great.
If you need other information about how to do this or what this is about, you can go to howtogeek.com and just search for the what is EXIF data. And you can also search for on howtogeek.com how to see exactly where a photo was taken. And you'll find 2 articles about that. 2 additional resources for iPhone users specifically. There is support.apple.com/en-us/HT207092. And there is one large resource about EXIF data and also electronic interactions, essentially, from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They're an excellent resource, excellent foundation or group of people. It's https://ssd.eff as in Frank .org/en. Yay.
Awesome. Okay, to me, this is always the fun part of like getting into doing this work. Because, I mean, okay, so when I started, it was like 2002, and I was like 18 years younger than I am now, kind of thing. And the character, the persona that I created for myself isn't one that I would recreate today, because I've learned a lot of things just about life and social justice in the last 18 years. But it gave me like just the process of like creating this character empowered me a whole lot and made me feel like a lot more confident, made me feel like I actually had skills that were worth sharing, because I kind of didn't prior to that. And so like when I started out, I was camming and then switched to in-person work and doing domination, and I definitely preferred it. And so I learned a couple of tips along the way, and I'm sure you have others that you can add. But a few of the things that I learned are you should always trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, like if you're talking about who your persona is, where they're from, what they've experienced, if it doesn't feel right, forget it. Don't add it into your story. If you're like, you know, somebody who's never had a sadistic bone in their body, it doesn't always work to go and be a dom, even though that might be more doable in social distancing eras or whatever. You kind of have to go with parts of your personality as the root of this, because like we're not all cut out to be doms, and we're not all cut out to be full service or do girlfriend experience. And so like finding where you feel comfortable is really important. And then again, you can always rebrand if you say like start a character or a persona, and then you kind of feel like, you know, I feel like clients would appreciate it more if this person was like a little bit more outgoing or fun loving. You can always sort of like change all of your accounts and emails, start with a new name and start posting new photos. You can always rebrand. The other thing that's really important is to always have a really solid backstory. Have like a place that you grew up that is nowhere near where you grew up, a friend who doesn't exist that you can tell stories about, so that anytime somebody's like asking you for casual chat, you can be like, oh sure, yeah, my friend so-and-so, who is non-existent. Have a fake birthday for yourself that is like not the same month, day, or year that is your birthday, but like really cementing all of these things in your mind, because people will ask you over and over and over again, like, oh, well, where are you from? And where did you grow up? And what did you do? And is that your real name? And all that jazz. And the less you tell people that's real, the safer you are. Being able to like spit out when your birthday is is really handy because people will be like, oh, I'll buy you a birthday present.
It's today. No.
Totally. And then the other thing is that like everywhere in society, the sex industry is full of racism and bigotry and bullshit. And if you are a racialized person and you can tap into that racism and capitalize off it, that's all for you. But if you are not a racialized person, you should really avoid choosing names or building a persona that is based in another race or culture, because that's appropriative and it's not good for people. And the only people that have a right to sort of capitalize on the racism in the industry are people who are experiencing racism in their daily lives. Do you have any other tips that you would add into sort of like how you build yourself up?
I take a different approach with clients, and
Okay.
which is totally okay, but I like what you said, and I always just like following your gut. There's been, I think, many times where like, oh, I'll just take this client or whatever, where I just feel like, okay, like you feel a little pressed or whatever, but you feel like you can handle it. But I feel like always trust your gut is better. um like, I'm not going to say that no money is worth trauma, because sometimes you got to pay rent, but I definitely feel like, if you can make a choice to work at a time when you're feeling better, or when it feels better, do so.
That's key, I think, also. Like, if you're not in it, if you're not feeling it, if you're like having a bad cramp day or a migraine or a fight with your partner, you're not going to be giving people the same energy that they're coming to see you for. And so, yeah, I feel like while life happens, if you can, if you're able to try and like, yeah, like book things for times or times of day where you know you have more energy and you can do the things that you're supposed to be doing, go for it. And if not, reschedule.
And being honest with yourself, like if you live with disabilities, or if you have chronic illness or pain or anything like this, um, allow, seeing clients at a time when maybe your boundaries are less strong, or when you feel less able to enforce them, is not, I don't want, it's not ever your fault if you're a victim of violence in this work, but it's we like, I would definitely not discourage people from preventing things with the power that they have. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Additionally, like, trans workers may have to operate in a like particular way, and I've seen a lot of like infighting of if, for example, I've advertised in the trans section and the cis section, but of course I put transsexual in the title or whatever. Just like kind of leave other people's ads alone. Just do your own thing. I mean, if you're looking for community, that's a different situation, but like, sort of like to what you said about don't appropriate racialized experiences if that isn't your experience. um, just like leave other providers and leave other sex workers alone that don't have anything to do with you, because
Yeah, don't be wasting your time flagging other people's ads to have them removed.
that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Just because actually one thing people don't really know is that Leolist has admitted that they falsely inflate their ads by posting fake ads of their own. So
Yeah.
like, you're not going to win, and it's just, put your nose to the grindstone, as they say.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about advertising.
Yeah, perfect. Leolist I just mentioned. I'm going to say that I'm not recommending Leolist. I'm going to say that it is the website that has taken over the market most largely after Backpage was shut down from FOSTA and SESTA.
Yeah.
However, I I have I've been interviewed by the Toronto Star about them, and I know details about the CEO and about what kind of lifestyle he leads, and what kind of lifestyle his puppies that fly on private jets lead. So I'm not going to say like it's a good website because you're literally giving money to a pimp. But I feel like it is the most highly trafficked, like the website that has the most website traffic. So you're more likely to receive inquiries if you advertise on there.
Okay.
Other websites, there's tris.link, which is sex worker created. It is, you know, it's slower, but apparently you can get higher quality clientele because the people that are seeking that website out typically are a little bit more experienced or a little bit more clear in what they are seeking.
Okay.
There's the escort directory, and there's three review boards. There's the Pacific, I believe, erotic review board known as PERB. There's the Maritimes erotic review board known as MERB. And then there's like TERB, which is Toronto Erotic Review Board. There's a few other ones related to other cities. So if you just do like search TERB, PERB, or MERB, you'll probably find the related websites just within them.
Yeah.
For people who like to do sugaring work, or, you know, I like to call it like secret sex work, because you have to convince your fucking baby, pardon me, I shouldn't swear. You have to
No, it's okay.
you have to convince your baby client, like your baby man. Sorry, I shouldn't assume it's a man. You have to convince your client who is like in a childish way that they're not actually engaging in sex work, because they want to believe that you truly, genuinely want them for mutually satisfactory sex or whatever it is, experiences. So using Seeking Arrangements is one of those websites. Seeking Benefits and other sugaring platforms. Just Google. But I would specifically say, when you are using those websites, if you are doing full service work and you have ads with your face or particular photos of yourself out there, do not use those same photos on the sugaring websites. They actively, like when you sign up, they say escorts are not welcome, even though it's like a complete cognitive dissonance. But
Yeah.
the website protecting their own liability because of the Communication Decency Act, Section 230 being under attack, and FOSTA and SESTA, there's added liability with that. So it's not right, but that's how it operates. So they will do their own Google image searches of the photos you upload to their website to see if they can cross-reference with any sex work ads. And if they find you, they'll kick you off. I've had it happen to me. So just keep that in mind. Going back to other advertisement platforms that are more for full service or less likely known for sugaring, there's P411. That's one of the more well-known and respected one. I believe that's the one where you get like a number associated if you have like reviews and stuff. There's adultwork.com. It's a UK-based one, but I use it and I find that it does get some hits. There's popular for trans providers. It's TS for Rent. I think it's .eu, like as in Europe. There's megapersonals.com. There's adultsearch.com. They advertise it as being a site for cuddling and like non-sexual services. It's called Cuddle Up, but it is very conveniently set up in a way that you could probably still offer full service work under the table. You just need to leverage that in a particular way. For video, camming, or photo content, you can use OnlyFans, Just for Fans, or Snapchat. However, do keep in mind that there have been many sex workers that have reported either their things being shut down if they've been found out to be full service workers. Snapchats have been canceled because of what they're doing on Snapchat is technically against the terms of service, but not to discourage, saying you need to be aware of the tools that you're using and the risks. For fetish, domination, BDSM, etc., there's FetLife. It's kind of a cesspool. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong, but it's...
No, you're definitely right. You're definitely right.
but I mean, I'm on there, whatever. I don't really use it that often. There's local directories as well on Leolist or the review boards. They have their own fetish sections.
Yeah,
For
like I never found when I was working, FetLife was like just nascent, I think, when I was just kind of ending my work.
yeah,
And I think it like at the time there was nobody who wanted to pay. There weren't paying clients on FetLife. There was just people who wanted to play, which is fine, but wasn't what I was there for. But advertising like in the fetish section of whatever local directory you're under really was brought in a good chunk of my clients, and then advertising with American advertisers brought in a lot of my like out of town clients. But now I can't go to the States because I used to advertise with Arrow's Guide, and now I'm
no.
fucked.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
You got banned for 5 years?
I haven't been banned because I haven't tried.
Well,
Like there's a chance that I could go to the border and that they wouldn't search my shit out, but when I started doing sex work, I was using my face in ads, and that stuff is still out there. So
I don't know if I want to. We should talk privately. I don't want to. I don't want what I want to tell you be recorded, but
okay.
we'll talk after. So, the other alternatives for advertising, some like cities or local newspapers or have like sections that you can still post, like those cool, escort ads on newspapers. Toronto Sun, I think, still does it. I can't, or not the Sun. Sorry, not the Now magazine. I can't
Right.
remember.
Yeah. Like it's usually like the free weekly papers that come out. Like it's the Straight in Vancouver. And you can definitely I posted an ad in attempt to be a professional beard when I first moved here, which didn't work out, but I was still trying.
It's so funny. I love that. You can also advertise on Twitter. On Twitter, when using Twitter for sex work, just realize that you want to, the more nude photos you post, like or explicit photos, the more likely you're going to be shadow banned.
Okay.
That your only your followers will be able to see you. Other people won't be able to organically see your posts on their news feed. It will basically isolate you on the internet to only your followers. So basically, like your followers have to retweet stuff for other people to see things, and it's isolating. So trying to be less explicit, because I've been shadow banned on Twitter, and then I spent a year not posting my ass pictures of my butthole. So it, and then you can Google shadow ban checker, and I'm no longer shadow banned. So you can get it removed, but the easiest way is to just prevent it. So just don't show all of your bits on Twitter if you can help it, or censor it or whatever, because also, which is kind of helpful for sex workers because it helps you try to keep getting money, not just,
Giving it away for free kind of thing.
I don't mean to use that trope, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with making money off of your sexuality. It's a renewable resource. So,
Amen.
and so a lot of those advertising platforms that I just mentioned or that we mentioned are great for finding both in-person and online clients. So, even if you have an ad on Leolist, you could convert it to be like offering online services, or if you are still offering in-person services, you could just annotate that you're offering video calls during COVID and all of this.
Yeah.
Now, there is one other website that's really popular for trans providers. I'm not going to say it, I think, for the purposes of this call, but if people are interested in going to the website to check it out, I made like a Google short link of it. It's https://bit.ly/2v7yuec. The website, as we know, a lot of porn sites and advertising websites use stigmatizing language when referring to trans providers, and this website hasn't adapted to the times. I personally advertise on this website and have since I began. So I would say I've definitely gotten many, many, many clients who have said, yes, I saw you, you know, at this website specifically. So I definitely recommend it. However, they use transphobic language. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Like when I'm chatting with folks in person and they're asking me about where they can advertise, I will tell them the name of the website, but I also just like hesitate to do it when there's not that personal context happening, because they use really dehumanizing language and they shouldn't.
Totally.
But yeah, so again, if you want to check out that website, it's https://bit.ly/2V as in Victor 7YUEC as in cat. Let's talk about marketing.
Marketing.
So to start, let's say, how do I market myself? Start with the absolute basic.
I'm sexy.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right? I don't know. I feel like the way I market myself is pretty straightforward. A lot of these tips on here I don't necessarily use, but
Okay.
I will let you read this part
Sure.
of it. Yeah.
So think about what you want to offer. If you're offering girlfriend experience, think about like styles in which you could describe your character or your personality and the things that make you unique in, a sea full of other fish. Shoot some photos, and like you can just use your iPhone. They don't have to be really fancy to get people's attention. Sexy really works. Like that gets people's attention pretty, like without having to, spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on photo shoots. Although if you have the privilege to be able to do that, it can also help. When you're writing copy, think about like the persona that you're playing. Think about who you are as a sex worker. Be creative, have fun. How are you going to like tantalize people and tickle their interest? So try a few different things. And if you have other folks that are in the industry that you can share your ads with, like just the copy, to get feedback on whether or not that's stuff that's worked for them. Although to be fair, we're all super unique. And so what works for somebody else won't necessarily work for you. But sometimes it takes a little bit of like playing with it. I know people who have posted ads for like a whole gamut of different services, one being like domination, another being girlfriend experience, just to see who was getting the most hits. But they were comfortable playing all of those different roles. And for folks who aren't, that might not be as helpful.
Yeah, like trans women, perhaps, like not all trans women want to top their clients, and that is a common ask. So being clear in what you do and do not offer, well, depending on if you're comfortable talking explicitly with your client about the services that you provide. However, in a world where there's no criminality and all of this stuff, being able to explicitly determine what you do and do not offer to your clients so that consent is clear is beneficial to both of you.
For
so
sure.
that they get what that they want, they feel that they've gotten value from the service, and you feel that that your communication was positive and that you were respected in that exchange.
Yeah. When we're looking at, say, like posting an ad, it doesn't always have to be just an ad that is like, I'm available at these times. It could be a change in the times that you're available, or that you're traveling to a new location, or that you're offering like special pre-booking rates or discounts for folks with disabilities, or whatever it is. So it's not just necessarily marketing who you are as a persona or who you are in sex work, but just like the different things that you can try and like hook people in with. Like maybe you're also doing something where you're like, I'll sell photos, or I'll give a photo to the first 10 people that give me like some money in Cash App or something like that.
Right.
The other thing is that you want to really consider your audience when you're looking at marketing and the sort of clients that you want to attract. And so like, as I was saying earlier, I used to advertise on Eros Guide, and I had a very different set of ads for Eros Guide than I did for Maxfish, which at the time was a dom listing website. And I got very different clients from those two things. And like after a few months of advertising with Eros, I was like, I'm now going to change my ad on Maxfish so that it's the same ad, because I'm getting like a way higher caliber and like people who are willing to pay more, people like people
Right.
who are more respectful, less, trying to get more for less kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that, because sometimes the hustle and people trying to like haggle you down is the most stressful thing about the job, or one of the most stressful things about the job.
Totally.
So consider the kinds of clients that you want to attract. Consider how you could market to them. Maybe just like go through the ad section of like a GQ magazine or something like that. Although, to be fair, people who read GQ might be trash, but or like go through like a classy men's magazine and just like look at the colors that they're using, or like the way that they're putting ads together, and see if you can translate that into how you're putting your sex work ad together. And then the other thing is to create a mailing list of clients who you can share different marketing things with. So let's say you've got a large list of clients in different cities, in different places, maybe different countries. You always, this is a big heads up, always mail them BCC so that they don't know that you're also mailing 200 other people. And yeah, always BCC, and just say, oh, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be traveling to so-and-so place, city today, or whatever, or that, hey, I'm offering like a pre-booking rate. Just make sure that it's always BCC, because that will maintain everybody's privacy, and you will definitely lose clients if you just email your whole list of clients together, thus exposing everybody to each other.
And BCC, for people who don't know, it's blind carbon copy. That's why
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
it keeps it blind to the email recipient.
There are some sort of like more technical notes that I took from the Scarlet Alliance sort of info package that they had sent out about working online, about like how you make a point of difference or value adding. But they're all sort of just like very specific marketing terms.
Yeah, we're not here for segmentation. We're here to make money.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Um, but if there's anything else you want to add, please feel free.
I mean, yeah, like there's some good ideas here. Like if you offer webcam shows, you might want to throw in phone sex, texting, or selling pre-worn panties or boxers with a slight discount, $5 off, for example, for the second or third service. So just basically, you know, upselling by offering a package deal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially if you are offering non-contact services at this time, it helps just sort of sweeten the deal, if you will. Um, you could use particular voucher codes if you have a website, or if you offer, particular content, you could offer a discount code.
Okay.
And you could offer like memberships to like a Snapchat live feed or something like this. And yeah, I mean, making sure, I think, there's a point in here that says like you always want to be careful of your client's privacy. And yeah, you always want to be careful of your client's privacy. We respect our client's privacy. However, like they're also interested in seeing us. So unless like there's a particular client, and I find that usually they will ask explicitly if they are the type that would not like you to text other than when they text you, they'll tell you that. And I've had that many times. So other than those particular individuals, I do tend to, like, for example, if I have missed text from when I wasn't working, I will follow up those texts with my intro text, even if it has been a few days later or whatever, because that's just how I particularly operate, and that's what's worked for me. But there's ways to adapt. So you do what's good for you, but using these tips are good as well. And
What do you
also,
need to get? Oh, sorry. Go back.
oh, no problem. Asking clients where they found you is also useful information for yourself.
For sure.
If you find that you're getting more clients on a particular website, much more than others, you can make sure that those photos are updated, make sure that your copy is fresh, or just, look, it just sounds good. I've been using similar copy for the whole 8 years that I've been working, and it's pretty much the first copy that I made for myself, and I just have adapted it over the years, made little tweaks here and there, and
Yeah.
you know, you'll find what works for you as it relates to your thing, your persona.
True. I always found asking folks where they found me to be really interesting because that really quickly showed me how few people were finding me on the like local DOM directory and how many people were finding me from elsewhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
Started.
Yeah.
Equipment, I guess. So work equipment. In an ideal world, if you had, you know, if we could access all the work equipment we needed, you would have a smartphone, hopefully ×2 for personal and business, computer, potentially ×2, or a PC and a laptop, an external camera, a webcam. So I have 2 of these. This is actually the webcam that's that's you're seeing me on right now, but I have 2 of them. So this one is the Logitech C920. It's a 1080p 30 frame per second webcam. It's been on the market for over 6 years. It's an excellent webcam. It's still pretty, it's still one of the better ones on there. Like, you can get 4K webcams now, but you do not need that. And it's also just asking, like, unless you have a huge internet connection and all those things, you don't want that. So lighting, ring lighting is a really useful tool just to make yourself have that extra sort of glamorous look. As well, LED lights, box lights, if you really want to do the whole thing. Basically anything that you would benefit from from a good photographer. So anything, if you want to research on photography and lighting, you could also apply to your setup for this.
Can I ask, are you using a ring light right now?
No, so
Okay.
I'll just describe it. So I just have like a line of a light, and it's over top of me, so it just looks good, I guess. I don't know.
No, it really does. You look well lit.
Thanks. And then if you have any additional accessories or equipment that you want, for example, like a fucking machine, or I don't know, props or costumes, outfits, things like this. Trying to see what it says. Oh, right. Selfie sticks, tripods. These are all sort of things that you could use in addition to, you know, your stationary setup.
Okay.
Also, there are selfie sticks and tripods that have a Bluetooth button for automatic start and stop. So you don't have to worry as much about the awkward editing. So it helps cut down on that labor.
Okay.
And it looks like getpivo.com is here. I'm not really sure what that resource is. What is it? Getpivo.com is, it looks like, for a camera holder.
Okay.
Oh, I see. It is a Bluetooth enabled tripod. Cool. So that is an example of where to get one.
Okay.
Oh, they have my camera. You have the picture of my camera, and then so funny. I didn't see that. Like, I thought. Oh, well, I showed it anyways. Sorry.
What are some sort of like basic tips that folks who are webcamming should be aware of?
Potentially, you can be recorded. People can video capture the broadcast. Potentially, they can find out your ISP. So using a VPN with a strong internet connection are advantageous for this kind of work.
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to avoid people finding out your geographic location. Using a fake birthday, you know, fake backstory is all useful, as mentioned earlier. And remember all of sort of like if you have a particular client that you've told a particular story to, you need to keep those consistent. So it's best to just have the same story. Again, I don't operate this way. I am pretty honest. And sorry, like, as in, like, not, like, I don't omit things, basically, a lot of the times. Whether or not that's a good thing, I'm not going to comment on, but
Yeah, I don't know. I like when I was working, I was not as safety conscious as I am now. And like I've celebrated my real birthday and talked about like real people in my lives if we were just like having a chit chat moment or something like that. And it totally came back to bite me in the ass.
it can. It
Yeah.
can, for many.
So generally I will tell people to like come up with a fake story and to remember it because it's safer than doing what I did, but
do what's right for you. I mean, you're not
absolutely. Yeah.
like people who are boldly honest, like even if that's a risk, they shouldn't face that risk.
For
So
sure.
do what's
Yeah.
right for you. But of course, in this paradigm that we're teaching you how to keep yourself safe, those are all considerations. So
Sure.
yeah, also considering identifying artwork, um, appearances or whatever inside of where you're webcamming, if there's unique architecture or if you have particular combination of artwork, um, you know, you could have like a screen or something just to have like a blank wall, um, as opposed or something attractive as opposed to like your actual apartment or wherever you might be working that might give away your geographic location.
Mm-hmm.
No family photos in view. Don't have it showing out the window where there's a sight line or a skyline. Be cautious at all times. And again, like if you're talking to clients during webcam sessions and it doesn't feel right, just block them. No amount of tip coins is worth feeling vulnerable while working. So,
For sure.
um, also, yeah, don't succumb to clients' requests to use payment options that you haven't heard of before, that you're not comfortable with. That is a tactic. Sometimes men will listen. Well, like, sorry, not men. Sometimes clients will often oblige your initial requests on screening and things like this, but then when it comes to the actual thing, they'll be like, oh, I want to send you a check and I would like you to deposit in your bank account, or I would like to send you cryptocurrency. I'm not going to say cryptocurrency is bad necessarily to receive from clients. It is possible to get paid that way. I'm not going to say it's stable or like wise, but for people that are very, very concerned about accepting cash for whatever reason, the cryptocurrency might be an option. However, there's also concerns about it being done online. So
Okay.
yeah, I'd say that's that slide. Just use all the same skills that you would for your in-person bookings as you would online.
If I have a website, where where can I host it? Because like Sesta Fosta changed a lot of things for online workers or for folks advertising online.
Right.
So at this point, because of how Sesta Fosta is worded, U.S. servers can be like seized or charged um, based on the content that they have on their platform. So if, say, somebody is a trafficked person and their trafficker has posted an ad for them, that makes the website responsible for it and they can be liable in court.
Or
Um,
even consensual sex work.
yeah, yeah. Um, Although the whole meaning behind Sesta Fosta was to try and stop online trafficking, but all it's done is stopped consensual sex work. It hasn't stopped trafficking.
Well, their intention was to stop consensual sex work with the moral outcry of sex trafficking, while inflating those numbers. It's a complicated issue, but yeah, the impact is definitely most disproportionately against sex workers.
Yeah.
Um,
So that means that like hosting with usual places like GoDaddy and HostGator or Bluehost are out. And so are things like Wix and Square, because they don't allow you to sell sexual content on via their terms of service. Um, so if you don't have coding skills but you want to build a website, where can I go to do that?
I actually use Squarespace.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, and I've used Squarespace for a long time. I did set up like a shop for my DVDs, and like technically there's still two things on my site where like it says you can e-transfer me. I did at a period of time have a like a payment processor set up for it, but it got canceled after the first purchase because
Okay.
it was like Stripe or whatever. But I can't speak to whether or not you could find a alternative third-party payment processor that would allow you. I've searched, I haven't found it. I'm not saying there isn't one. It's very unlikely, however. So again, selling merchandise and things like that are sex adjacent are also advantageous. Another hosting website is redumbrella.ch. It's basically a non-buy and for sex workers as a website hosting service.
I was checking them out, and they offer like different packages where you can build your own website with templates that they have and then use their hosting. And so it runs by different monetary amounts. I think like the basic is like $500 to build a website and have it hosted for the year, which is actually really decent.
I'm gonna take a look quickly.
Yeah.
Payment.
There's also a privacyware domain service, which you can find at https://NJ as in John, AL.LA. And then ITCH. And there you can use Bitcoin, you can register anonymously, and they host offshore in Europe or Asia and use their website builder if you need to put up a site quickly. They've got templates you can just build onto.
And it looks like you can get a members only site from Red Umbrella for $1,500 a year with $250 annual hosting renewal, which isn't terrible. Definitely cheaper on Squarespace, but I mean, for the privacy, I imagine it's very useful.
For sure. For the privacy, and also just for like the stability, where it's like you won't be tossed off this site. Whereas Square, if they did some research and or change their terms of service, you could be.
So I'm just taking a look. There's also a Bello host. It's ABELO host.com. They have different payment options, including cryptocurrency. They have offshore hosting, but not where you can build your own website.
Okay.
And then there's One Host Cloud, which is onehostcloud.hosting. It's an interesting suffix. They host in France and Australia, but they indicate that they have data centers in Russia, Singapore, Portugal, and Brazil as well, coming soon in the future. They do offer a free trial. They have cloud storage, which is recommended, which is called Tresorit, TRESORIT.com, and it's end-to-end encrypted cloud storage for businesses, basically. So a better version of Google Drive, but I use Google Drive. Sorry.
Lots of people use it. It just doesn't mean that it won't. It might just disappear someday. They might just take it all down.
I mean, like, yeah, we have our SWAP, like book and journal and zine library on Google Drive. Like, I don't know, like 50 gigs worth, and I'm hoping it'll always stay there. So
I hope so too. Because we're talking about like building all of these different accounts and keeping them separate from our personal accounts, I highly recommend folks use a password manager like LastPass. And so what LastPass lets you do is it will let you set a master password, which I recommend being like a combination of letters, numbers, characters, that kind of thing, and as random as possible. And then for each and every app where you have a password set, you can go into the settings, use LastPass to generate a random secure password that LastPass stores. So once you've gone into all of your apps and added a new randomized password, the only password you ever need to access anything is your LastPass password. And then as soon as you type in your LastPass password, anything that you're looking for a password for automatically fills. So it's super good for keeping like banking stuff very secure. It's excellent for keeping track of all of the passwords you're going to be setting for your personal Gmail, your work Proton Mail, your work Instagram versus your personal Instagram. Because very quickly you realize that we've got like hundreds of passwords, and most of us have chosen something that is like not that difficult if somebody really wanted to hack you. And so choosing a randomized password with LastPass and then storing it really just gives like an extra layer of protection in apps where you might already have two-factor authentication.
Exactly.
So working for yourself online, tell me about all the pros and cons.
Well, working online, you have control. It's not the variable of another person in the room. um, you can learn a wide range of skills that are different from in-person work. When you do a webcam work, a lot of it is theatrical in nature. And well, I wouldn't say you don't lose a cut to anyone. I'd say that depending on how you operate, you can get a fair amount of money. You still will have to offer it to, oh, you're saying working for yourself specifically as opposed to third parties?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't lose a cut to anyone when you aren't working for third parties. The con being that you have to do all the work yourself, including pay for the infrastructure, like a website and all of that, which
Yeah.
can be daunting. And I mean, I've done it. It's a lot of work. And I mean, I've outsourced some of it, like SEO help, search engine optimization help, and like just like at the very beginning, basic design consultation. But like, you know, you do lose a cut to your overhead, which
Yeah,
is a part of being a business owner.
for sure.
Whether it's paying the rent or keeping the lights on or looking pretty to be marketable. Those are all things to consider. And also those potential privacy concerns that we've already covered in depth.
Right.
So, when you do work for a third-party platform, you do lose a cut of your wage essentially. And when you do start a new private sex worker persona, it's an opportunity to adapt. So understanding that it isn't, you can't just jump in from full service in-person work and expect the same amount of popularity, if you will, in camming work, because you have to build up your clientele in the exact same way. Sorry, not in the exact same way, but with the same difficulty, if you will, as in-person clients. And it's its own kind of difficulty. You know, it has its own challenges. So
For sure.
yeah, seeing if I'm missing anything in the notes. So the third party, selling services and content and items independently without a third party platform are good options for people who only want to sell to clients they have direct contact with,
Yeah.
as opposed to third party platforms. You might have international orders, for example. It's also a good option for people who have regular clients, either from, you know, in person or other work, whether you're working in a massage parlor or a brothel or something like this. It's sort of easier to transition to offline work with people you already have a pre-established connection with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it can be a great way to collect full service or offline clients for the future, for when we, you know, if, you know, when we get to a place where we can start seeing clients in person without the same risk of contracting COVID-19.
Yeah.
So are you going to tell us ways we can connect with clients independently?
Yeah, and some of them we've talked about already, like selling personal images or videos, selling clothing or objects. Like, I don't know, I had somebody try and buy my hairbrush once.
Oh, wow.
People want all sorts of random stuff, so it kind of just depends on like who your clientele are, what you can market to them. Offering phone or video sessions, offering social time, like socially distanced social time for these COVID times, um, writing sexy stories or recording audio clips of you like talking erotically or telling them a dirty story or something like that. Um, I know a lot of folks who, since COVID started, have been taking small deposits for future like in-person sessions, whether that's for social time or for whatever. You can guarantee future contact work when things are safe, and or if both you and your client have spent 2 weeks isolating, you can offer it to them then, but say like, I need you to pay a deposit for that to happen. If you're sort of like more on the dom side of things, I guess, asking clients to pay tribute to you or donate to you. Asking clients to tribute to your rent, bills, mortgage, rather than buying you gifts that you don't need right now. Connecting with clients via like a wish list can be really helpful and useful if there are things that you are in need of. Or let's say you've got a client who's all about foot fetish and you can get them to pay for your pedicure every month or something like that. Like there's different ways to connect with people depending on what they're interested in and depending on what your boundaries are. If I was looking at platforms where I could advertise myself and communicate with folks and maybe like organize online bookings without taking a pay cut, what would the best platforms for that be?
There's Kik Messenger, KIK. There's WeChat. There's Snapchat. Of course, you know, terms and conditions. Most people violate them, but you know, not everybody gets kicked off. But just keeping that in mind. Premium Snapchat is different apparently. There's Twitter, just keeping in mind about shadow banning and the explicit photos.
Yeah.
Certain hashtags apparently can also flag your account. And you don't want to have explicit photo, like you don't want to have completely nude photos in your header photo or your profile photo. That's against terms of service of Twitter as well. You can have your account suspended or deleted for that. For information about that, I'd go to titsandsass.com and just search shadow bans, and it's an article called Shadow Bans, Secret Policies Depriving Sex Workers of Income and Community. Alternatively, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so again, follow their terms and conditions. Understand that if you like I've used Instagram to be like, here's my website, refer to my website, because what am I really saying? But of course my website has things, but that's for them to parse out for themselves. And if they want to contact you on the number on your website, then you can continue. But if you are like actually like, you know, these are my rates, here are my services on Instagram, that's not a good idea. That's it's less safe. So there are ways that you can go about that. Like you can direct them even to like, you can, for example, if you have rates in a menu, you can make a digital image and you can upload that privately on imgur.com or Imgur, I don't know how you pronounce it, one of the image hosting websites. So people who are inquiring about you on, let's say, your work Instagram or, you know, your slut Instagram or whatever, you can say like, go to this link. That link doesn't show anything really, like the link itself to Instagram, looking at the URL doesn't look like anything pornographic. And then the client can, you know, go to that link and read your rates or whatever's on the photo. These are all, you know, these are just ways to adapt. There's also sites that set up online options, but it's not really clear if they are going to take a cut of the money exchanged or not. Those include Locanto, Scarlet Blue, Escorts, and Babes. I've used Locanto. I haven't used it for webcamming though.
Okay.
Alternatively to those ones, there's Chatterbait. These are the more popular ones. Chatterbait, Live Jasmine, My Free Cams, Sky Private, Stream8, and Extra Lunch Money. Those all do take a cut, those last ones. With the caveat that Extra Lunch Money, you can also sell pictures, videos, and used underwear, but using a token system, not not like direct currency.
Okay. So let's talk about how to get paid.
How to get paid. What's BSB? What is that?
I believe that is your like Bitcoin account number.
Oh, that's what. Oh, right. Okay. Yes. So your wallet, whatever
Oh
Stream.
no, sorry. BSB is the I can't remember what the term for it is, but there's a term for it in Canada that is like your it's like the location of your bank and the specific bank account number. So if you give somebody your specific bank account number, they
Well,
will
that's
be
an
able to make a
Australian.
direct deposit.
I think that's an Australian term in banking because we don't use
Okay.
BSB in Canada. So just for the purposes of this, where's the training? Um, so what if you're in Canada at least, you'll be giving. Well, if you first of all, you should never give your bank account information to a client, ever, ever. You should accept e-transfer. You should use a work. You can first of all, you can accept e-transfer to any email, and accepting like receiving e-transfers is safe because they only see the name that they have programmed for you.
Right.
They don't see the name programmed
By your bank.
by your bank for your bank account, your legal name, presumably. If you are in a position where you feel safe and like it's necessary to give your bank account information, you'll be giving your routing number,
Right.
which is usually a 5-digit number, your institution number, which is usually a 3-digit number identifying the bank, and then you're going to give your account number, which is it's like 10 digits or something. That's not exact, but it's a string of numbers.
Yeah.
They can sometimes vary depending on what kind of account. You can also get paid via online gift cards. Oh wait, did I miss? You can receive cash, of course. Cash is probably king.
Cash will always be king, I think.
Cash will always be king. And there's also some ATMs that will allow for a cash deposit into another account. But again, those are all variables. You want to try to just keep your payment, how you receive payment consistent, because you don't want to confuse clients. You don't want to alienate clients by seeming like you don't know what you're doing. And also you want to make sure that you get paid at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get paid in online gift cards. Of course, these are going to be like in exchange for the service that the gift card provides you. For groceries, iTunes, Uber, department stores, and any retailer you can imagine, and some services. Some of them allow for gift card cancellation. This might be a way to get around it. And also you might be able to exchange the gift cards for monetary value at other places. I think there's a website online, I can't think of it right now. Just Google sell gift card or something like this.
Okay.
You can sometimes sell gift cards for a little bit less than the price of the gift card. So you might still be able to get cash out of it if you've only been able to get gift cards.
Okay.
And some platforms to get these gift cards. First of all, there's deliverycode.com. It's actually like a wish list site where you can create a wish list from things you want, and people can buy it for you and have it sent to your address without them ever seeing your address. It's better than an Amazon wish list because there's no concern about like them seeing the package get delivered and to where. And they can also send you money, like as kind of like at IndieBill, like it's not a gift card, but you can send a gift of money. Okay. So alternatively to delivery code, there's mygiftregistry.com.au. Those do seem to be for Australia, so just keep that in mind. And there's www.prezzee.com.au. Again, just Google gift card purchase Canada, use Google. It's your friend.
Yeah.
Thanks. And
tell me about TransferWise. Let's skip over that little one there.
Yeah, so there's no way to block your name, your legal name on TransferWise, what it says here. And the benefit, however, is that it's quick. You can remove the money straight away into your account, and it does accept overseas payments.
Brilliant.
You want to keep in mind what the exchange rate is at the time you accept a payment. I will say that I've accepted money on PayPal before. PayPal's bad. Don't use it. They're anti-sex work and you'll get your account banned. However, if you're receiving or sending small payments like for merchandise, it might be okay as long as you make it seem like it's a gift or don't annotate anything related to sex work or pornography in the note. Just let your client know that they shouldn't type thanks for the panties, you know, like,
Yeah.
for example. So yeah, there's other platforms for receiving payment. GetIndieBill.com is a reliable one. I'm not going to mention those other two on the notes here because those I think are exclusive to Australia.
For sure.
Alternative to straight up money, there is cryptocurrency, also known as blockchain currency. There are different websites you can use to have a wallet to send and receive cryptocurrency. Coinbase is a really good one. There's BitPay, there's Veritel, RedPass, WooCommerce, eWay, IcePay, and Paxum, Paxum. And they've all been reviewed as sex worker friendly. And there's also SpankPay, but there haven't been any reviews that we've seen.
Okay, and as a note to folks, CRA does definitely, like, you are expected to declare how much money you have earned, whether that's Bitcoin or anything else. And so if you aren't reporting that, you could wind up in a little bit of trouble, just as a heads up.
Yeah, gotta be careful. And if you aren't familiar, ask someone on Twitter, for example. Maybe they can help you. There's a decent community of sex workers on Twitter as far as the amount of people.
Right. And as far as like willingness to share tips and stuff like that, depends on the person.
For sure, yeah. Just like talk to people, you know, be yourself, whatever. Now,
This is a heads up of all the ways that you should avoid.
Yeah, as I said, PayPal, they do exclude sex workers for sure. They'll block you, they'll block your IP, you'll be fucked. Square and Stripe are also like they let you accept credit card payments and things like this. Usually they have like an adapter for your cell phone that you can accept payments just on your phone. Don't do it. They'll find out somehow, eventually find out. I do have friends that like have run sex toy businesses and like accepted money for stuff like this, like sex work adjacent stuff, and they've been banned. So it's really annoying. Amazon, or I didn't realize Amazon had payment methods. What do they mean by that?
They have an Amazon Pay.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so they will cancel your account and take all your money, Amazon Pay, if you're reported. So just, it's against terms and conditions to do it for sex work. So just keep that in mind. And there are other cash apps or like websites with bad reputations, such as GiftRocket, Venmo, Google Wallet, Snapcash, Pioneer, Skrill, 2Checkout, Intuit, Braintree, and Circle, to name a bunch. So avoid all of those payment processors and try to keep it straightforward when possible. Know that Interac eTransfer is solid, cash is king, and cryptocurrency does not save you from the CRA. So moving on to working for someone else. Did you want to start that one?
Yeah, sure. So when you're working for somebody else, there's lots of options. To be aware of the sort of size of the cut that different services or platforms might take is really important. Be aware that, like, read the terms of service. A lot of them will own your content once you've posted with them and you've accepted their terms of service. So you want to also really be aware of like privacy policies. And one of the really important things that we were talking about earlier is that if a site doesn't allow you to remove or alter your geolocation, you shouldn't be using their site. And I'm speaking more about like cam stuff, online things right now, where like if the website doesn't allow you to use a Tor browser or a VPN, or if they aren't doing that automatically, then they aren't a good company to be advertising with. Be aware that a lot of like porn and camming companies will be following local COVID guidelines for the time being. So they might only allow you to upload solo content or to record or to post content recorded with people that you already live with. Um, and then you also want to like check out what other folks on the service you're looking at working for think of it. So if it's possible, if you like, because often if you're checking somewhere out, somebody will be, the boss will be like, oh, you can talk to so and so. They'll tell you all about it. But it's a person that they've pre-decided is going to like blow a bunch of sunshine up the business's ass, basically. Um, so if you can note like a couple of different performers' names and then message them privately on Twitter or something like that and say, hey, I'm thinking about going onto this platform. Can you just give me like your honest opinion? Is it good or not? Some people won't respond. Some people will be like, I'm not spending my time answering this question. And some people will tell you it's great to work for, it's terrible to work for, but getting sort of like feedback from people before going ahead with it, I think is really important.
Yeah.
What else would you add?
I can just add some of the sites or whatever.
Yeah.
There's FEC, the company, and they have sites like ishotmyself.com, beautifulagony.com, and ifeelmyself.com.
Okay.
Lustry point of view, POV. Lustry enough, which is self-shot content. So, but it must include a co-star. So I guess typically like couples who are doing porn,
Right.
who cohabitate, and Bright Desire. Alternatively, there's also Light Southern, though it's been paying off for some sex workers, Light Southern, but we don't have strong reports, so just keeping that in mind.
What about if I wanted to work in phone sex specifically?
Yeah, there's Night Flirt, talktome.com, there's phonesext.com, girlsforliveadultchat.com. Girls is, oh wait, no, that one is actually Australian exclusive. My apologies.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's Girls of Oz.
Right.
Yeah, so talktome.com, nightflirt.com. Nightflirt is truly the most popular platform. There might be a steep like curve in getting clientele, but when you have foothold on that site, it's a very good site, Nightflirt, I've heard. So,
and it's been around like for at least 20 years. I think it's been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
What if I want to be selling videos or photos or other things online?
I would say you can do the subscription services of like OnlyFans. So they take a 20% cut or 15% if the client came to them via your own marketing.
Okay.
So there's that. There's Fan Centro. They take about 25%. You can sell access to private Snapchat and Instagram accounts. There's images for sale, clips for sale, and videos for sale. Those are all websites. You can sell pictures, videos, and VHS or DVDs respectively, and they take a 40% cut. Payouts are monthly with a $50 minimum for United States users and $150 minimum for international, including Australian users.
Okay.
There's ManyVids, which I've used. They take 40% of earnings from individual video sales and 20% from custom video sales. ManyVids also has a subscription service called ManyVids Crush, MV Crush. They take a 10% they take a 10% cut from that service,
Okay.
which is one of the lowest out there. But again, you do need to have 3 videos for sale in your ManyVids store before you're able to open that.
Okay.
There's I Want Clips. They also take a 40% cut. If you join their I Want fan club, it's basically like a similar situation to the MV Clips, and they only take a 10% processing fee and 20% on top of that, so 30% as opposed to 40.
Okay.
There's Just for Fans. They take 30%. There's Indie Bill. They take a 15% cut, and payouts are twice a month. There's Premium Snapchat. Again, there are risks to that. There's SideDaddy.com. They take a 30% cut on subscriptions and a 40% cut on individual sales. There's AVN Stars. They take 20% cut of sales, and they have a minimum of $25 payout, so pretty low, which is nice. There's Reveal Me VIP, a subscription platform that customers pay with gems or tokens. So they don't take a cut of sales, but there is a fee for payouts for those outside of the UK. So it's probably not the best for North American providers. There's also Swipe Up, which is a subscription service that you can sell content such as videos, photos, and audio, and other custom content like live chat sessions. Swipe Up takes 20% of cut, and payouts are weekly. There's no minimum payout for payouts, but a $5 fee will occur if it's less than $250, which is unique. Not that bad. There's also Admire Me, which is admireme.vip. They take 20% cut of sales. And then there is Exclusive Life. It's spelled at EXCLUSV.life. They take their content platform and they take 20%. Payouts can be daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on your preference. And there is no minimum, which is nice. Yeah. And lastly, there's OG Feet, which is a website specifically for foot fetishists, where you upload short videos of your feet or whatever you're doing. There is a small model application process and a Dropbox account is required. Yeah. Those are all large options.
Yeah. Finally,
we're here.
I just want to, finally, we finally made it to the end of Working Online 101. If anybody is interested in having the PowerPoint and ergo all of the links, you can email me at kit@pace-society.org, and I will happily send you all of the links that we've talked about in this. Just want to say like a thank you to the folks at the Hacking Hustling for their work. And
there's also, we have the Eve Digital Defense in the resources.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Thank you. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you joining me, Jelena. Thank you so much for lending your voice and your expertise and your style of like working online with us. And then for folks who want further resources, reading about safety or cryptocurrency, we've got all of those for you too. So thank you so much for spending like almost 2 hours with me. I really appreciate it.
It was great. I hope it wasn't too long for you.
No, I think it'll be great. I'm going to stop recording. So thanks all. If you have any questions, you can give me a call or email me at Pace, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
Or swaphamilton@gmail.com.
Right, yes, thank you.
No problem.
And now I need to stop sharing my screen, I think, to find this. Hang on, sorry.
No problem.
There we go.